The favela unfolded around me like a fever dream. Streets that seemed to end suddenly opened into hidden passages. Houses balanced on houses in defiance of physics and city planning, held together by corrugated iron and human will. Power lines crosshatched the sky like scars, and everywhere the smell of cooking beans mixed with diesel fuel and something I couldn't identify, sweetness at the edge of rot. I'd been here before, but never like this. Never alone, never without my father's political entourage to smooth the way. Now I was just another gringo stumbling through a geography I couldn't read, chasing a crackhead who'd stolen something that mattered. But I found Tom near the bridge, trying to sell our chair to a woman with a shopping cart. 10 reis. Exactly what it had been worth as trash, nothing close to what it had become in our hands. "Tom!" I shouted. He startled, dropped the chair, ran. It tumbled down the embankment into a ravine I hadn't known existed, a wound in the earth hidden beneath the settlement's sprawl. Without thinking, I followed. The descent took me into Rio de Janeiro's unconscious, the place where the city buried what it couldn't bear to remember. Broken concrete mixed with red earth, rusted rebar jetting like bones from flesh that wouldn't heal. The smell here was overwhelming, sewage and rot and something else, something animal and afraid. I found the chair perched impossibly on a mound of debris. Toys without faces, clothes without colors, things that had once been cherished and were now just shapes in the shadows. As I reached for it, my glasses slipped and fell deeper into the dark. "Darling?" Rosita's voice, filtering down from the world above. I threw the chair up to her and called back. "I'm getting my glasses." "No, Louise." Sharp, urgent. Bianca's voice joined hers. "That's Koobah's place." Koobah. The name hit me like cold water. I'd heard it whispered, always with crossed fingers and averted eyes. A bogeyman story, I'd thought. Something to keep children from wandering too far into the dark. But as I squinted into the shadows, my vision blurred without my glasses. Something moved in the fetid pool at the ravine's bottom. Something pale and wrong. At first, I thought it was a reflection, moonlight on stagnant water. Then it surfaced. She was small, smaller than she should have been, her body twisted into shapes that belonged underwater. Skin like old milk, blistered and weeping yellow. Her eyes were gone, not missing, but clouded over like windows painted white from the inside. Bald head turning toward sounds I couldn't hear, mouth working around words that had never been taught. Koobah. Not a monster. A girl. Or what a girl becomes when the world forgets she exists. "She was one of us," Rosita called down, her voice strange and distant. "Same age, maybe younger when she disappeared. Lived with her grandmother in the oldest part, where the first shacks were built on the riverbank before the city knew this place existed." I couldn't look away. Koobah moved through the filth like she'd been born to it, which perhaps she had. Her fingers, webbed with scar tissue, caught something silver in the muck. A fish, gasping. She brought it to her mouth with the delicacy of prayer. "When the old woman died," Bianca continued, "no one came. No family, no authorities. The body stayed until it didn't, and the child stayed until she wasn't a child anymore. Until she became something else." Something else. I watched her surface again, watched the way the slime clung to her like a second skin, and understood. This wasn't transformation, it was adaptation. Evolution in reverse, or maybe forward into something we didn't have words for yet. "She takes things," Rosita said. "Things that fall down there. Things that get lost. But she gives them back, sometimes. When she's ready." I should have climbed out then. Should have left my glasses to join whatever else Koobah hoarded in her underwater kingdom. But Rosita didn't retreat. Instead, she jumped. The splash echoed like a gunshot in the enclosed space. Koobah's head snapped toward the sound, and for a moment, I saw something flicker in her clouded eyes. Not hunger. Recognition. They moved around each other like dancers who'd rehearsed this choreography in dreams. Rosita quick and sure-footed despite the treacherous ground, Koobah fluid as the element she made home. My glasses gleamed between them like a prize neither could claim. When Koobah lunged, It wasn't with the mindless hunger of an animal. It was with the calculated desperation of someone who'd learned that everything gets taken away, who'd made peace with being the taker rather than the taken. Rosita dodged, grabbed the glasses, but Koobah's hand closed around her wrist. For a heartbeat, they were bound together, the woman who'd escaped and the girl who hadn't. Blood bloomed where fingernails met flesh. Rosita didn't scream. She drove her knee into Koobah's ribs, and as she tore free I reached down, catching her other arm. The force of her climb nearly pulled me in, but I held on, dragging her upward inch by inch until she cleared the wall. Only when she collapsed into me, breath ragged against my chest, did I realize my hands were shaking. The sound Koobah made as we escaped wasn't animal. It was human, the cry of someone watching the world disappear again, watching connections sever like a cord. We never spoke of it again. Not the next day, not the next year, not now, 5 years later when the scar on Rosita's wrist has faded to a pale river running from palm to forearm. But I see her touching it sometimes when she thinks I'm not watching, tracing its geography like a map to somewhere she's afraid to visit. The pit has been fenced off, half-heartedly, with chicken wire and signs no one reads. Children still lose things there sometimes. Balls, toys, dreams. Sometimes they come back different. Sometimes they don't come back at all. I've started to understand that Koobah isn't just what lives in the pit. She's what the pit produces, the ghost of every girl who falls through Brazil's cracks, every child the system decides isn't worth remembering. She's Rosita's shadow and mine, the life that could have been stalking the life that is. And maybe she's more than that. Maybe she's the city's conscience, growing pale and twisted in the dark places where we bury our guilt. Maybe she's what happens when trauma becomes geography, when abandonment becomes a living thing that feeds on whatever falls within its reach. Late at night, when the building settles around us and Rosita sleeps beside me, I sometimes think I hear scratching from somewhere below. Not rats. Not pipes settling. Something larger, something patient, something that knows how to wait. Koobah is still down there. Still taking things. Still giving them back when she's ready. Still becoming whatever it is we're all becoming, in the spaces between light and dark, between memory and forgetting, between the Brazil that poses for photographs and the Brazil that lives in the shadows beneath. The chair sits in our living room now, orange as sunrise, solid as the love that saved it from the trash. But sometimes, when the light hits it just right, I swear I can see handprints in the paint, small fingers pressed against the wood like a signature, like a claim, like a promise that nothing is ever really lost. Not in a city that dreams with Koobah's dreams. Not in a country that grows its angels in the dark.